Welcome to Fight Week on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure to be in your company. The smiling assassin, Nick Peet's here. And look who else is here. The King of Qatar. Not really. Mr. Michael Bisping. How are you?
The king of no sleep. I just got off a plane. It's a beautiful place to be. Very happy to be here. And, of course, we've got a tremendous fight card. The King of Qatar? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, we can't say things like that around here because there is genuinely a King of Qatar, isn't there? You know what I mean? Maybe the King of Fight Week. We'll call you that instead.
There you go. I'll take
the King
that.
of Fight Week. We're in the arena, the ABHA Arena, which is going to be bringing you this fantastic card from Doha, Qatar this weekend. There's a little bit of noise going on in the background because they're actually rigging the octagon and putting up the lights and making the showbiz. But we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of sugar for you right now as we preview this at the weekend. We've got a fantastic main, we've got a fantastic co-main, stacked main card, and just as a little bit of a word of warning, Scouse Boy here has got two Scousers to preview on the card as well.
That's
all right?
coming up.
And that's probably going to take up the majority of the show. So let's get into the main event, shall we? Lightweights on deck, mate. Big ramifications here. We've got two lads that have been out of the octagon for such a long period of time, but it's being tipped as a number one contenders fight.
Yeah, this is a tremendous matchup. Obviously, we've got Dan Hooker, who's always in exciting fights. He's a really, really good striker, a fun guy as well. When you speak to Dan Hooker, you're going to end up laughing your head off. Then on the other side, Arman Tsarukyan, who hasn't fought since April 2024, and he's still ranked number one. Of course, he was supposed to fight Islam Makhachev way back in January, injured his back as he was cutting weight, and then he kind of got forgotten about a little bit, let's be honest. But if you remember Arman Tsarukyan and what he's capable of, this man is a phenomenal grappler, an excellent striker, and he truly feels he's going to come in here, destroy Dan Hooker, and cement his legacy or his place as being the number one contender and get to challenge Ilia Topuria.
Yeah.
So there's a lot at stake here this weekend.
A lot of ring rust as well. We don't necessarily know where these two lads are at. I know that Arman's had a couple of grappling competitions this year, but Dan's back-to-back.
Been over a year.
Dan's had back-to-back hand surgeries, you know. He's been out for a long period of time since August of last year.
Yeah, and they're straight into a 5-round main event. And as Mike just said, everything's at stake. The champion, Ilia Topuria, is in town, as is seemingly every other champion. Islam Makhachev's here, Khamzat Chimaev's here. Everybody wants to be in Doha this weekend because obviously the fight card is absolutely stacked to bits. But you're right, that main event, there's so much at stake there. And to make it even worse, there's a chirpy little Scouser sitting cage side as well.
You?
Not me, the other fella. Paddy the Baddie's here. He's ready to pounce on Ilia any opportunity as well. So even though they've both been inactive, they're both there on merit. If meritocracy, this would be the eliminator fight. But it doesn't work that way. UFC doesn't work that way. What have you done for me lately? Winning isn't enough. One of them has to make a statement, or I think Paddy jumps ahead of them both.
Yeah, Justin Gagey, he feels that he deserves the title shot. And, of course, Paddy Pimblett's out there. He's trying to make his own case as well. Arman Tsarukyan, I was talking to him earlier, he finds this whole situation laughable. And Dan Hooker, on the flip side, feels if he goes out there and beats the number one ranked guy, then he gets the title shot. So, as we said, there's a lot at stake here, massive ramifications.
Well, until he got injured, Dan was in a really good, rich vein of form. I know he had a little bit of a bumpy patch during COVID, didn't he? Where maybe he couldn't train to the levels that he wanted to train at, and maybe certain things weren't right in preparation. But over the last couple of fights, Gamrot, Jalen Turner, he's really showed up, the fella. I mean, he fought Jalen Turner with a broken arm for the majority of that fight.
Yeah,
came through.
And Jalen Turner is a ridiculously talented kickboxer. He beat Machado Garry last time out as well. And remember, Machado Garry beat Arman Tsarukyan, beat him at his own game, and Dan Hooker was able to stop the takedowns. When he did get taken down, he got back to his feet, and on the feet, he dropped him a number of times. So this is not a given for Arman Tsarukyan, far from it. And when you look at Dan Hooker, yeah, there's been a few losses, but a long time ago, one razor close loss to Dustin Poirier, one to Islam Makhachev.
Then he had a mistake, moved down for Arnold Allen.
And that was Arnold Allen. There you go. Thank you very much.
I just like him. Since he's come back to lightweight, we've seen this transformation in Dan. I remember when Dan came into the UFC, for a long time he was walking around in his Venom tracksuit. He was kind of a vanilla fighter, talented, but he didn't let his personality out. Now, he's completely changed himself. We joked about it on this show. We said he's having a midlife crisis.
With the
tattoos, the transformation, the outfits are different. The hair's dyed white now. He's got all kinds of crazy jewellery on and watches. And he's really feeling himself. And when you're around him now, it feels like, oh, that's the real Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
The real Dan Hooker's here. I'm interested to see what that guy can do. He's comfortable in his own skin. As he said before, he said to us earlier this week, he said, I was a busy idiot when he was losing those fights. He said, now everything I'm doing it at the right time. I'm getting the right coaches. I'm taking the right fights at the right time. this is the very best of Dan Hooker.
He hasn't rushed back off surgery as well. He's
Exactly.
had two
That's
big
right.
hand operations, hasn't he? He hasn't rushed it back. He's taken his time, and that's why we're seeing him at this time
And
of
he's
year.
massive for this weight class,
Yeah.
let's not forget that. And of course, when you're very tall and you've got long, skinny legs, which he has, and I don't mean that as a sign of disrespect, typically that can be easy for wrestlers. But Machado Garry, when, as I said before, when he took him down, he got right back to his feet. Yeah. So he's beaten Machado Garry, who's one of the best wrestlers in the division. When he broke his arm, that was against Jalen Turner, who definitely is one of the best strikers in the division. So when you put it all together, Dan Hooker's a really tough fight for Arman Tsarukyan.
He's a dog as well, isn't he? Loves a scrap. But having said that, though, Arman Tsarukyan keeps exceeding expectation. He started to get the finishes. He's starting to put them together. I say started. We haven't seen him, obviously, since April of last year. So, yeah, number one contenders fight this weekend for the lightweight title.
Well, remember what he did to Beneil Dariush. Now, granted, Beneil Dariush got took out last week against Benoit Saint-Denis, and it was kind of a similar style. He went forward, kneed him in the face, dropped him, got it over very, very fast before he's taken out the likes of Joel Alvarez, who's doing big things as well. So Arman Tsarukyan really can do it all. That's why he's ranked number one. That's why he was originally supposed to fight Islam Makhachev, so we can't forget about that. This is a really competitive fight, and whoever wins it kind of does have a good case to fight Ilia Topuria for the belt next.
Yeah, and I think when you look at all these running riders at lightweight, we've mentioned 4 of them there. I think Arman's probably technically the toughest fight out the lot for Ilia.
Yeah, I'd agree.
On paper, I think the body of work proves that. Just in case you might disagree, but I don't know where Justin is in his career right now. I think right now Arman for me is the standout contender. But he has to make a statement. He let the UFC down when he pulled out of facing Islam last minute. He let himself down. He missed his opportunity, of course. He's had to put the work in to come back. And what I like about Arman is, you get the sense with Arman, by looking at the kettles he has and the clothes he wears and the way he carries himself, he's not in this for the money. Clearly he doesn't need the money. Clearly he comes from a very wealthy family.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of Marco Antonio Barrera, the boxer from Mexico. He was the one that wasn't a street kid. His mum and dad were lawyers in Mexico City. He grew up with all the money. But it was in there to become a champion and a fighter. And I think it's in there with Arman Tsarukyan. He's not here because he's got to be here. He's here because he wants to be here. And that's even more terrifying.
He's here for the glory.
Yes.
Simple as that. He's here to be champion of the world, and that's a very powerful motivator. It's great to have these backstories where you come from, disadvantaged backgrounds, and you've got all these heartbreaking stories of like real trouble that they've had to go through. But also on the flip side, as you said, for Arman Tsarukyan, he doesn't need this, but he wants it because he wants to be a fighter, because he's very skilled. And I'm telling you, to get to the level that he's at, he's worked his backside off his entire life, and he deserves to be in this position.
Yeah. Just a little bit of translation for you. You can tell that Scousers are on this card. Kettle, watch.
Kettle. Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Just letting you, it's a timepiece, all right? Just to let you know. You can tell Scousers are here, and he's bumming flying. Let's get into the core main, shall we? Because obviously we're at welterweight for this one. It's Belal Muhammad, the former champion, taking on Ian Machado Garry. This division is on fire right now, isn't it?
Everything we just said about the lightweight division, with all these different contenders, it's kind of exactly the same thing with the welterweight division. Last week we had Michael Morales knock out Sean Brady. We had Carlos Praches knock out Leon Edwards. They've both got claims to the title. Then, of course, tomorrow we've got Ian Machado Garry, who claims that he's going to knock Belal Muhammad, spark out, and then he's going to get a title fight against Islam Makhachev. And Belal Muhammad, who's the former champion, we could go on all day. You get the idea. Then there's Shavkat Rakhmonov out there as well. So everything we just said about the lightweight division, it's exactly the same thing here with this co-main event.
Yeah, you know what? I would say welterweight's probably the hottest division in the UFC right now, because it's so fresh. Everyone we're talking about, no one's had a title shot. No one's been there yet. Even Jack Della Maddalena's only just got there. He's still kind of in the mix. He'll bounce back for sure. There's a lot of young fighters, unbeaten fighters, guys with just one loss on the record, guys with tons of finishes on the record. It's such an exciting weight division. We don't know who's next. We don't know who the next contender should be. In fact, I do know, because I had lunch with him today, as you well know. Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's staying in our hotel. What a wonderful moment that was. Me and Shavkat sharing a cheese butty. But he's been inactive. He's been injured. He's recovering from knee surgery. He's unavailable. So the guys last week, they've made a case, as you say. It's all about Belal and Ian Garry, though, especially Ian Garry. I think if he can make a statement, if he can deliver what he's saying he's going to do in here on Saturday night, I think he's got to be next.
Well, as always, he walks the walk and he talks the talk. He really does. He's very confident that he's going to go out there, he's going to make an embarrassment out of Belal Muhammad, he's going to pick him apart, he's going to stop the takedowns, and he's very confident in knocking him out cold. On the flip side, if you speak to Belal, remember what he did to Leon Edwards, right?
Correct.
And you could make some comparisons between the style of Leon and the style of Ian Garry. Belal says because of Ignacio Bahamondes, who's a tall, lanky striker, striker who's very, very good. He's been training with him and his brother. He said, I've got the perfect training partners. He said, all I need to do is cut off the cage, back him up against the fence, get a takedown, then he's going to ragdoll him. So both men on paper have the perfect game plan. Ian Garry says, I'm going to use my reach and my range, I'm going to pick him apart, I'm going to use my jab, I'm going to use my footwork and break him down and then knock him out with a head kick. So both men, as I say, on paper, they've got it down, they've got the perfect training partners, and they've got the perfect style.
How impressed have you been with Belal this week? He gave, when someone's just lost the title, you can kind of see from your first conversations where their head's at when you're looking into their eyes. He gave off a little bit of a different aura this week, the Belal. Like, it's just part of his journey.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of being a religious individual. You know, I used to talk about that a lot with a lot of the Brazilian fighters and the Brazilian champions. They used to always say it's God's will, it's God, and that's a powerful thing if you've got that kind of inner belief. Because you think, okay, God's given me a challenge, he's put me on a journey. You don't have to self-reflect too much because you think there's a greater power that's dictating things. And I think that's put Belal in a situation where he's able to go compartmentalise the loss to Jack and go, okay, I was meant to go on this journey. Maybe my journey is because one day I need to fight my old training partner, my old friend Islam, or maybe my journey's happening because I want to go through Ian Garry. I want to be the guy to finish Ian Garry. When you speak to Belal, he's so composed and so confident within his inner self. He doesn't have to shout loud. He lets other people do that. But what Belal does is he wins consistently. I think he's one of the most undervalued fighters, certainly in this weight division. There's nothing he does spectacular. There's nothing he does that make you go, wow, Belal is so good at this or this. But what he does is he wins. He finds a way to win. And Leon, honestly, the noises Ian's making this week reminds me a bit of the noises Leon was making in Manchester. Oh yeah, Belal, I'm going to run through him and then I'm going to get this guy. And we all seen what happened to Leon. Honestly, if he's not switched on this weekend, Ian Garry could be in for a real shock.
He could be, but Belal doesn't move his head much.
Correct.
He doesn't have much
so
head
big.
movement.
It's difficult to get it out of the way.
He's got a big noggin. You know what I mean? He's easy to crack. And Ian Garry is sharp. He's fast. I mean, he's the only person to beat him was Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, this is his claim to fame, not being finished by Shavkat. But that is something to be kind of proud of.
Yeah.
It is. And he did do very well in that final round. He did take the back, you know, and he's not to be underestimated. He beat Carlos Pratis. That just sparked out Leon Edwards. So this is a real fight, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, brilliant men, brilliant co-men. As I said, I did warn you, there's some Scouse talk coming up in a minute. We did a little bit of it there with the kettle, but we're going to get stuck into Shamrock's debut and Luke Riley's debut, as well as the rest of the main card next. Welcome back to Fight Week on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. We are in Doha, Qatar, for this weekend's UFC. We're in the arena right now previewing this fantastic card. We've done the main, we've done the co-main. There's some Scouse talk on its way, but first and foremost, let's get stuck into the rest of the main card, shall we? Volkan Oezdemir, Alonzo Menifield. Is it going more than 5 minutes?
Well, this is
There's
one
bangers galore in it.
Yeah, 100%. This is one of those fights that's guaranteed to entertain. When you look at Volkan Oezdemir, No Time is the nickname, of course. Came over to the UFC and found himself in a title fight very, very quickly. Now, he's lost his last couple. Last time out against Carlos Ulberg. He feels that he was unlucky on the scorecard, but I called that fight, and to be honest, I thought Ulberg did steal it. Now, I was speaking to him today. He's only 36 years old, so he truly feels that he's still got a run at the title left in him. And of course, that starts with Alonzo Menifield, that I think stacks up or matches up very well with him, because Alonzo Menifield's not the trickiest guy. He's not exactly a powerhouse wrestler. These two are going to meet in the middle of the octagon. They're going to throw down, and we're going to love it.
Yeah, Menifield's in a good place as well. You know, he's won 2 this year, 2 good decisions. He's been nice and busy. That's after losing 2 in 2024. And you kind of think, you know, he's deep into his, what is he now, 37, something like that, 38 years of age. He's no spring chicken. Don't forget, this is his second career. His first career, he was a professional American football player, you know. So for him to get this far and stay this consistent for that long shows how much of a natural athlete he is. I think it's a bit of a crossroads fight. Both these guys are battling like crazy to stay relevant in this weight division. At this stage, a bit of a loser leaves town type of fight, because you lose this one, you could tumble out to the top 15.
Next up, we've got an interesting one. I'm going to come to you first on this one, seeing as that I watch you have 2 plates at lunchtime, so therefore you might be the man qualified to talk about weight. We've got one coming down, one going up in the welterweight clash now. Seems weird calling Jack Manson a welterweight, seeing as that he's been 185 forever, but he's taken on Oralbai, who has been made to move up. What do you make of the matchup?
Yeah, I think Oralbai is obviously super talented. He looked great, but the problem with him is I think he's 4-1 or 3-1 in the UFC. He's got this great record. The problem is he keeps missing weight.
Yeah.
So the UFC would say, listen, son, you're going to have to go up to welterweight. Oh, and by the way, first fight we're going to give you is a guy that's fought at middleweight his entire life, and he's coming down. And the reason Jack's going down is because he's kind of become the gatekeeper at middleweight. Jack is kind of the guy, you beat him, oh, I'm into the top 10 now. Everyone that beats him is top 10 ranked. He needs something fresh, he needs something new. He's at the back end of his career, and he's probably thinking, I can't get a consistent run. If you look back last 9 fights, win-loss, 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 win-loss all the way through. So he's probably thinking, Mike, I'm going down to welterweight, fresh run, couple of fights, I'll rise up the rankings and see where to go.
But that does concern me for Jack, because we all know him and he's a lovely guy and he's a tremendous fighter who's had a great career at middleweight. Coming down, it does affect your ability to take a shot.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him earlier and he said he's been on a calorie deficit the entire training camp, and he's still got 7 kilos to cut before he makes weight. So it isn't going to be easy. When you do those weight cuts, it affects your ability to take a shot, it affects your gas tank as it goes forward. Yeah. And with Orobai going up a weight class, that does the exact opposite. Okay, you've got more calories, you've got more nutrients, you can recover better from your training sessions. And he is a brawler. He goes forward, he swings like a maniac, he's got big power. Yeah, Jack Hermansson's probably more technical, he's taller, he's longer, he's going to try and keep the distance. He might stand there and trade with him, we don't know. But I tell you what, Miktabek Orobai has got real power in his hands. So Jack's got to be careful in this one.
Yeah, and he's choosing a Shark Tank to come and play at welterweight, isn't he?
Yeah,
Jack. Listen, he's a great grappler. Let's see how he gets on and how he looks on Saturday night. Looking forward to that one. Heavyweights. We've had a little bit of a change with the heavyweight clash that we had originally scheduled for Qatar, because Sergey Spivak is no longer on the card. Phone call's gone in. 2 days' notice, flying in from Phoenix. Wasn't even in the country, the fella.
Mega.
Every other fighter is in the country, by the way. We've got Waldo Cortez Acosta coming in to take on Shamil Gaziev.
I love this. I mean, listen, fair play to this man, Waldo Cortez Acosta. We'll probably remember just a few weeks ago, he had that whole situation with Ante Delea. He got poked in the eye, and of course, there's UFC 321, so there was a lot of talk about this, but he continued the fight. And then what did he do? He was losing the fight, and then he comes back and knocks him out cold. Before that, earlier this year, he went up against Sergey Pavlovich and did himself proud. He didn't win the fight, but he stood there and went toe-to-toe with one of the scariest strikers in the division. Now he's taking another fight on super short notice. 2 days, flying to the other side of the world. He's got knockout power. And for Shamil Gaziev, I mean, listen, he's a big guy, he's a good wrestler, he's got knockout power himself. But I just love what Waldo is doing here.
It's mega. This is his 5th fight this year. That's a very elite club in the UFC. There's not many have done it. I don't think any heavyweight has ever even attempted it. 5 fights in a year. That's what it's all about. Don't get ready, stay ready, take those opportunities. That's how you get a title shot, by keeping busy. Good for him.
Yeah. We need excitement in the heavyweight division, and if the Salsa Boy, which seems a really weird nickname for this fella, doesn't it? But if he can deliver on Saturday night, then I'm sure the tongues will be wagging for him to maybe start moving up those rankings.
It's crazy because I didn't think he would become this
Same.
very credible contender
Absolutely.
that he is now. I mean, that knockout that he had recently was phenomenal. He's always had power. He used to be a professional baseball player. He used to throw a ball over 100 miles an hour, so the right hand's super dangerous. And I'm telling you, he's getting better and better every single time we see him. 5 fights this year. I'm expecting something good from him this weekend.
Yeah, kicking off this main card, we've got the return of a legend. That's right, Horiguchi. He's back in the UFC, Mike.
Yeah, Kyoji Horiguchi. We haven't seen him since 2017. This man's had a great career. He's fought some of the biggest names in mixed martial arts. He's fought for a lot of the biggest promotions, ONE FC, Bellator, and of course now he comes back to the UFC. He's trained at American Top Team for the last 10 years alongside Mike Brown, Pantoja, some of the best fighters on the planet. He's coming back. He's got a tough one against Tageru Lumbekov, but I tell you what, it's going to be good to see Kyoji Horiguchi back in the octagon once again.
Yeah, they were supposed to throw down in Baku earlier this year,
and
Horiguchi pulled out for one reason or another, and Tagir cracked on. And Tagir's a big guy, man. You know, we were walking over to the fighter hotel on Tuesday morning, and he was already outside with his sweatsuit on, getting those pounds off. So he is a massive flyweight. But Horiguchi, as Mike says, absolute legend. Won belts all over the world. He's an absolute superstar back in his native Japan. He's been away for the best part of a decade, but he's back here now. And I tell you what, there's a few people in this hall that will be delighted to be able to say, one day, I saw Horiguchi fight live.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That kicks off your main card. So we've got a 6-fight main card. Now, are you ready? When he's talking about Scousers, he goes even more Scouse than he actually is. So that's just a little bit of a warning for you. So I'm going to come to Mr. Bisping first and foremost. All right? Because we've got 2 new young lads, haven't we? Making their debuts. There's been a lot of talk back home about Shamrock, about Luke Riley. Mate, this is exciting times for British MMA to have 2 new lads making their debuts out here. in two really, really good fights as well.
Yeah, and of course they both come from the same gym. They train alongside Paddy Pimblett at Next Gen in Liverpool, and they've got very contrasting styles. Luke Riley's a banger, he's great on the feet, and then Shamrock obviously is great at jiu-jitsu. Nick, I'll let you take this away because I know you're dying to. Adam Teagle, I'll piggyback on you. You know these guys better than me.
Yeah, listen, obviously I've known both these guys for an awful long time. Luke has been an absolute superstar during his run on Cage Warriors. I mean, that kid sells tickets. And the reason being, he's a highlight reel. Every time he fights, he either knocks somebody out cold or he finds himself in Fight of the Year contenders. Absolute slobber knockers. He is unbelievable. He delivers every single time. All 11 fights, 11 wins, 8 finishes. And he's got a massive following. And it says a lot. Listen, you guys know, you guys have been around my city. If you're not a Scouser, you're a wool. Especially if you're from somewhere like Runcorn or Widnes, where he is actually from.
Okay.
The fact that Liverpool as a city has christened him the Scouse Justin Gaethje, even though he's not actually Scouse, he's a Wolverine. We've claimed him because that's how good he is. He's one of us. We pulled him in. But that nickname couldn't suit anybody better. That's how he fights. He's like a miniature version of Justin Gaethje. Every fight he's in, you cannot miss it. And then the flip side, the other fella, what a backstory Shamrock's got. You know, on the run from the police for the best part of 10 years, living in Asia, finds jiu-jitsu, turns his life around, turns his back on a life of crime, uses sports to get out of it, gets back to the UK, goes to jail, then gets put out of jail because he gets found not guilty, and then starts this incredible career in mixed martial arts, or picks up this career which he started in Asia. From day one, his dream was always the UFC. He kept telling people I'd been in the UFC, and people thought he was bonkers. He's 32 years of age, but he's so talented. He's got so much ability, and in front of the camera, he's so marketable. UFC don't often sign people in their 30s. That's how good he is. Look out for him. Can't wait.
He's in a tough fight, though.
Very tough.
Because he's taking on an undefeated Almayev in it this weekend, man, and that guy can do a bit.
Absolutely.
Look at you, not even making further comments on that. Shem's got it in hand, has he?
Shem snatches necks and gets checks.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Well, one thing that I just want to highlight, great to see Paddy out here with him as the leader of the next gen camp, in the corner for both of these guys. You know what I mean? You get to a certain superstar status and maybe some people believe that it's all about them. Paddy's not like that at all. He's a team leader and he's in there cheering these lads on.
In the airport for
yeah, absolutely. He's leading by example, really, isn't he? With these two lads.
And that's great to see because obviously he's a massive superstar in the sport and he inspires all these guys in the gym, you know, and he has a lot of experience to pass down to them when they're making their UFC debut, what to expect and all this kind of stuff. But then when you speak to them, which I did today, they're like, Paddy's doesn't carry himself like a superstar. He's just one of the guys, as you just said, and the team captain, of course.
Yeah. And I believe he's a bit of a fiend on the paddle court. He offered you out yesterday, didn't he?
He texted me before. He was like, I've got your racket ready. The paddle court's calling us. I'm like, bro, I'm nearly 50 with 2 new knees. I'm going to compete against a professional sportsman. I'll beat him, though. Don't worry about that.
Make sure you're across the TNT Sports and Discovery Plus socials. The reason why I say that is because we've mentioned Paddy. So Paddy's in town. Ilia Toporia's in town. Hamzat Chimaev, I believe, is in town. Every man and his dog seems to be in town for this.
Shavkat.
All right. His mate Shavkat is knocking about as well. Every man and his dog seems to be in Doha this weekend for an absolute bumper card. And here's the Brucey bonus for you. 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when the prelims get going, followed by the main card at 6 p.m. That's right. What do you take away for a Saturday night? Get a few cans, crack them open, and watch all this lot knock 7 bells of you-know-what out of each other. It's going to be absolutely fantastic from start to finish. Make sure you come and join us. We'll see you at the fights.